Shit, fuck. Hello,
Welcome!
everybody.
Welcome to. I just caught a sight of my own ad, and I think it. Oh no, it's Dove. Never mind. It was
Yours
it
is
was
some
somebody
kind of.
running their hand over skin, and I'm like, that's odd.
Mine looks like an AI ad.
Oh, cool. Everyone's
Trying to figure out.
favorite.
I'm trying to figure out what it's for.
So, welcome to our Campfire Story stream. You may notice
Hi.
there's only two boys here. There's three. All right, one's just in New York, and he doesn't know about it yet because he's.
One's busy in New York.
And the other two are assholes, so we got rid of them. Cut them out of our lives. They'll be here
Yeah,
next
those
week.
bastards. We'll kill them, but not personally. We love them.
Yeah, it might. It
Okay.
might be worth it. For the record, this is my absolute favorite background I've ever made.
It's so good.
It's so fun. I cut the skeletons in myself, and I'm just super happy. Because, like, setting this up was so entertaining. And then, like, getting everything together and putting the Gratis Arcade logo in it. Great time. All right. So, by now, if you've watched us for any amount of time, you know how this works. One of us tells a scary story, everyone else shuts the fuck up, and we don't talk until it's over. Normally, I mute my mic. I can't really do that this time because my mic no longer has a mute button because my other mic died. So I guess I'm just going to actually have to be quiet for once.
Ooh, I like that challenge.
I guess I can mute it to OBS and Discord, but whatever. I might still just do the challenge. But yeah.
I was gonna say I'm okay with you not being muted for mine just because mine's more of a funny boy thing.
I know, but I try very hard not to talk because we'll just go on a tangent. But as a result, there are only.
What are you talking about? Anyway, let's talk about something on a tangent.
There are only 3 stories this year. I will admit mine's pretty long. I wonder how long it is in the actual. Does it say 7 pages? I've got 7 pages to read.
That's not bad.
That's not as bad as I thought it would be. I wrote it on my phone, so it doesn't always translate well to what I'm going to be doing. All right, but in the interest of tradition and in the fact that he's not here to defend himself, we're going to have Keys go first. And you're probably wondering, how's he going to go first? Well, that's easy. He recorded it. That's right. Lady, oh shit. Hang on, I have to get the. I fucked up. Oh, it's fine.
Fucked up again.
All right, I gotta get that horror ambience music going, and we'll get him here. And now, silence. Wow, that didn't fade in at all. Oops. All right, Keys, what's your story about? I don't know. I wrote it in 3 minutes. Anyways, bye.
It's been a few days since I returned to the base from that hellscape where my squad died. After telling the lieutenant what happened, they called me mad. They threw me into the med bay for a few days to evaluate me. I guess in this way I saved everyone from dying as the mission was put on hold. The medical staff had declared it a symptom of dehydration and a lack of sleep and put me back into action. I met with my squad the next day. Ginger looked up when I entered the room and whistled loudly and said, "Look, boys, the crazy one has shown up at last, and we can finally stop sitting on our asses." I shake my head and lock eyes with them. "Look, fuckface, I know what I saw and where I was. Well, I don't know where I was, but I know it wasn't here or in my dreams. So make all the jokes you want, but I literally watched you get torn in half." I took a deep breath and continued. "We got a job to do, so let's take down some bad guys, eh?" They all laughed as Ginger clapped my back and said, "Whoa, calm down, boss. Let's get up there and for sure and do what we do best." After inspecting the planes for any leaks or damage, we grab our packs and guns and hop into the cockpit and take off. I was a little uneasy getting in the cockpit for the first time since the incident. I kept getting flashes of each of the boys getting killed or hearing their screams. The one I see the most is Ginger being torn in half by that tentacle monster thing. I don't know if it was because he was with me in the same plane or not, or if it was just the exhaustion. We flew for about 30 minutes south of the base to dogfight some enemy soldiers and drop payload onto an ammo dump. Even though the air was cool and the job was easy, I was still sweating bad. The memory still haunted me, and I couldn't shake that they were going to happen again. As we were flying back to the base, the sun had started to set, and I saw a weird flash. When I blinked and opened my eyes, everything around me was in ruin. I turned to Ginger and asked, "You see this, man? What the fuck happened?" That's when I noticed Ginger had patchy hair that wasn't like that a moment ago. He slowly turned and I saw his face was grotesque, with bits of flesh falling off, bone, blood, and muscle showing through it. When he opened his mouth, a wretched smell came out, along with a bunch of flies. Ith, ka, shiwa, ithku. His eyes started to glow a bright purple as he chanted this line over and over again. When he reached back to grab me, I flinched and everything came back to normal. Over the headset, I hear one of the boys say, "Yo, you alright? It looked like you were having a seizure back there." "Yeah, I'm good. Just having a nightmare," I say as I blink while checking my surroundings. "You will see the world burn," I hear in a low tone. "Huh? What did you guys say?" Everybody turned to look at me in confusion. "You hit your head again, mate?" I'm not sure who said it in my confusion. I'm not sure who said it in my confusion. Nah, I'm just tired. I'm just tired still, I guess. We arrived back at the air base after an hour of silence. I hop out of the plane and tell the boys I'm gonna call it early. I can't shake this weird feeling and I'm just super tired. As soon as I lay down, sleep took me easily. When I woke up, I felt an immense heat against my skin. It's weird because I didn't have heating in my room. I got up and saw the red glow coming from under the door. I went to open it, and I had saw the whole base was in rubble, except for my room, which was weird. Where were the alarms? Was I the only survivor? The sky was an orangish red like it was on fire itself. I walked around looking for anyone else for hours and saw nothing but corpses. I found no indication who anyone was as well. All that their clothes, skin, and hair were gone. The corpses were only made of hanging bits of sinew, muscle just a skeleton. As I leave the base behind, I found an aircraft in good condition, what seemed an hour walk from the base. Even though I found it weird, I decided I could look for civilization easier with it than on foot. As I start the aircraft, the motor started up and purred like a mechanical kitten. Then hacked up a hairball and died. I got back out, walked towards the engine latch, and I saw a streak of blood that I swore was not there before. BAM! I dived to the ground after hearing the noise, not knowing what or where the noise came from. I looked around. I saw the latch for the engine moving up and down like it was a chest moving to catch your breath. As it continued, blood started to leak from the seams. "What the hell's going on?" I muttered to myself. I worked up the courage to finally open the latch and saw something I thought impossible. There, sitting in the middle of the engine, was a heart glowing purple and pumping blood to nothing. I blinked and rubbed my eyes, and the heart and blood were not there anymore. I'm not sure what's going on, but this shit is getting wild, I said out loud to whoever is fucking with me. I found there was a bolt loose in the engine, causing the belt to not rotate as it should. I took a wrench from the tool bag in the cockpit and tightened it down. I was able to start the plane up after that. As I was flying around, I noticed much of the world was like that of the base. With the world in ruin and me being what looked like the only survivor, I was starting to worry for my own survival. After 2 hours of flying and not seeing anything, I turned around and landed. I found food in a fridge buried under the rubble. Luckily, it was non-perishables, and I used my knife to open it. Somehow, the water in my room still worked, so I had food and water for a few days, at least, as I tried to figure out how I'm going to last. A few days have gone by, and my supplies has dwindled faster than I anticipated. The days I spent searching for food or game to kill that have proven for naught. I anticipate I only have around 2 more days worth of rations before I start to starve. It quickly became what I assumed was noon, as the sun never seemed to set here. I only know this as it is the hottest part of the day here. My mouth started to parch as I was running low on the supply of water I brought with me. I looked into the distance and saw a shadow move over the summit of the hill. Ecstatic to see what possibly could be another person or maybe even an animal I can turn into food. I gained a second wind and charged up the hilltop, spear in hand and my revolver in my belt. Once I reached the zenith of the hill, I had lost sight of what I saw. I was beginning to think I dreamt it. Seeing it, I noticed, dreamt of seeing it. I noticed a blur around me. It started to glow purple. It moved faster around me, causing a vacuum in the space I was standing. It began getting harder and harder to breathe. As I started to gasp for air, my vision started to blur. As tears swelled up in my eyes, and I fell to my knees. The dust clouded my vision even more. I tried to wipe my eyes clear with my labored breathing. Then all of a sudden, I could breathe normal again, and the purple blur around me had vanished. Confused on what was going on, I stood up and looked around. There was no sign of there being a dust storm around me, but in the distance, I saw a cave with a slight glow from a possible fire coming from within. I started my trek towards it, towards the cave, in hopes to find someone else in this hellscape and end my insanity. I was crawling by the time I made it to the cave. I saw nothing remarkable at first, as going from light to dark made me blind to the room. Once my eyes had adjusted, I saw the glow in the back of the cave. And some water dropping from some stalactites. I crawled as fast as I could to the water to parch my never-ending thirst. With my whistle wet and some of my strength returned, I found a stick nearby that would support my weight. I hobbled my way towards the light. As I inch closer to I begin to hear Ithke Fatu Ika Nomu Tila Makzani Ika Ima Kalamento. The voice seemed to be coming from this almost skin and bone looking figure that was standing in front of the fire. His voice was much deeper than I would have thought for such a skinny body. I started scooting forward and kicked a rock which made him turn around and look at me. His eyes were sunken. You couldn't even see his pupils. His skin gaunt and so tightly stretched in spots, you could see bone and the sinew of his muscle outlined by his skin. He raised his hand, and my body tensed, not of my own will, though. He stretched. He started to chant more. Liga Sutu, Motal, Tokovintu, Asakana. And his eyes started to glow a deep purple, and I knew he meant to harm me. I started to float. He brought his hand towards him and brought me closer. He stared into my eyes, looked me up and down, took his index finger and got closer to plant it in the middle of my forehead. He smelled of rotten flesh and fish. As his finger touched me, I began to see things that I couldn't comprehend. I saw an all-white room with many doors, a deep pit filled with water and writhing tentacles. My friends being torn apart by an unknown monster. These images made my mind split, and seeing them all within seconds, my skin started to peel like a banana peel. The man was still chanting, and the world seemed to dim. I suddenly felt better, and my skin was in one piece again. I tried to speak and ask him, why is this happening to me? No words came, though. My throat was tight, and I couldn't even swallow my own saliva. When I looked at him again, he was still staring at me, unblinking. I started to feel a rumble in my stomach. The rumble grew louder and unbearable as this creature still chanted, and the room started to glow purple. He released me from midair, and I started to run towards the exit of the cave. When I got there, the sun was at its peak for the day. So it was hotter than the exhaust of the planes. My stomach still churned, the pain coursing throughout my body. I made it a little bit further than the cave and fell to the ground, in complete agony. Sweat was coming out of me, and it was the size of golf balls. I started to hyperventilate as the cramping got worse. I barely could move again. My body convulsed, and then I had an out-of-body experience as my body exploded, leaving a small crater, and animals that I've never seen before showed up to eat my flesh. As I watched the animals eat me, there was a purple flash, and when I blinked, I woke up in my bed again. I walked out of the door and saw my friends being debriefed from the mission we had just ran. I went back into the room to wash my face. I splashed water. It was cool. It woke me up a little bit, but there wasn't much. As I looked in the mirror, I noticed something different about my eyes. Normally they are blue, but now they are purple. And that's the end of part 2. of the story that I read last year. Hope you guys enjoyed. Goodbye.
Oops.
Well, the first thing I noticed is your computer needs a restart and an update.
Hey, shut up. No one needs to see that. That was good, Keys.
That was good, bud. I mean, he's not here. Fuck that guy. But no, it's continuation. I was like, when he started with military, I was like, is this a continuation?
It took
'Cause
me
I
a second
wasn't-
because I granted, I was trying to get all kinds of shit under control
Right.
on this. Because I like started it and I'm like, God, I can't fucking hear anything. So I cranked the volume. And as soon as I like backed out and my computer went wah, I knew I was about to get deafened by you.
Yeah.
All right, that was good though. I like that. I like the
Yeah.
continuation.
Me too.
I like the hatred of the
descriptions
metric
were
system.
great. Yeah, lots of good description.
Very.
I think it was funny that he fucked himself with the lighting while reading, but that's true art.
True art.
Suffering for your art.
I like that. I like the straight 30 seconds of nothing.
That was
At the
funny.
one point where he's like, I have lost my place and I don't know what to do. And it's just 30 seconds of straight silence while he's like, I'm right.
But I'm excited
Here.
for the next part because I think this keeps getting more fucked.
Reading is a military disability. This is why I married you.
Oh yeah, that's the good shit right there.
All right. Do you want the horror music?
No, I don't think I'm gonna. What's Give me like music. If you were like trying to pitch somebody something like with a peppy attitude.
Okay, hang on. Let me quickly look up copyright free ukulele music.
Yeah. Give me a second. I'm gonna go get in character real quick. I'll be right back.
Oh,
Let me
God.
just, turn my lighting back on here.
$10 hours of carefree, royalty-free ukulele music.
Shit, I'm still on screen. Get out of here.
You guys can't hear it. Hang on. I found it. This is the one. Oh, God. Oh, boy. All right. This is... You know... I know you own all of these things.
Uh-huh.
But I've never thought you would put them together.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me if you can hear the music.
I cannot.
Hang on. What if I... Anything?
Nothing.
Okay. Hang on.
Do I need to maybe I need to be looking at something specifically?
No, I got it.
Okay.
That worked for you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That works.
Okay, hang on, because I gotta get back into OBS and crank that way down.
Yeah. Crank that shit down. Turn it down for myself.
Yeah, I gotta turn it down or I won't be able to hear you. Just gotta get it all set up, everybody. Hang on. I wasn't planning on this being the music I used.
As you shouldn't have. As you shouldn't have.
The music I used for Zach's horror story. All right. Get into it, buddy. I'll shut up.
All right. Hi, hello to all potential investors in this project. My name is Michael W. Jordan. The W stands for white. Just kidding. That's a joke me and my friends have. It actually stands for Worcestershire. Anyway, this presentation is for the streaming rights of our limited miniseries, or potentially a long-form series if the money's right, called The Epipandemic. We have this one set here in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. It follows a group of survivors when suddenly a breakout of some deadly nut allergy is turning people into zombie-like nut people we call nutters. That was through survey, we figured out that would be probably the best option for it. It's a post-apocalyptic survival style show. If an apocalypse happened, well, limited to a single town of about 44,000 people. However, it does spring into a mystery whodunit as the group begins to try to find answers as to why it has happened. We chose Wilkes-Barre as that is the original home of Planters Peanuts, and it being so nearby Scranton does leave room, if it does happen, for a potential crossover of an Office reunion episode of sorts. I should note that the characters' names do have very subtle names, very subtle names, similar to peanut butter brands, as they were a big part of getting the show off the ground. They each gave us about either 3 to 3.6 or to $7 million for this project, which was great. But we did lose, unfortunately, Nutter Butters as one of our brands due to the term nutters being used for our zombies, which did hurt some of the production. We have I'll go over some of our cast. We do have a great A-list class of characters here. I do want to know, we did cast as one of our leading roles, this is an ensemble, Timothée Chalamet, if you don't know him from the Dune series. Or maybe if you got some kiddos, Lid Charlie in the Chocolate Factory film. He is a salesman traveling from nearby Scranton. Maybe he's selling paper if that crossover happens. He was coming into town to see his friend and try to make a sale there. We actually were able to get Chalamet for this role, as this was shot just after he finishes Dune 3, The Sand Strikes Back. Fuck. I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed to say the full title. That might get us in a little hot water. Forget I said that. Anyway, he was really looking for a role that, quote, pays well. So then we have also his friend being Aunt Anya Taylor. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't say what Timothée Chalamet's name was. It was Peter Panderson. Then his friend is being played by Anya Taylor-Joy. Of Queen Gambit's fame. She's playing our titular character, Janet Marie Smucker. She is an allergist who has recently seen a spike in nut allergies in the town area. And we actually weren't even interviewing Anya Taylor-Joy for the role. But when she heard that our character had 3 names, like her 3-name, she was in it immediately, and we did not realize that was a big selling point, as it is. Then we have a couple. We've cast our 2 people to play the couple. Glenn Powell and Margaret Qualley are the 2 playing Jeff and Josie Jefferson. They are childhood friends of Peter and Janet, who have been together for years. They actually recently became very successful making a couple's OnlyFans page. However, this OnlyFans page, they do not do any explicit sexual acts. That was also part of our sponsorship that we made a deal with OnlyFans, as they, quote, said they could be doing anything but fucking. Our platform is so much more than fucking. We fucking swear. So we hired Glenn because, we brought Timothée Chalamet in for like the girls and the gays, and we were looking for someone for the dudes, specifically Hey Dudes, as they, oddly enough, were big fans of his and requested him being in the movie. So we got him, and they're paying us about $20.45 million. So we could not miss out on that opportunity. We just couldn't say no. Margaret, if you saw her recent work in The Substance, she's okay with some body horror. So we were super excited to find out she was super excited to join when we told her that as the big mid-season twist, she would be turned into a nutter. She was very excited to get in another weird fucking bodysuit. Then we have so that kind of basically covers most of what's going on there. It's a mystery. We'll fill in the plots in the middle. That's not what the real big selling point is. It's mostly the branding. We have a lot of big brand deals going on there, as you've heard, except for Nutter Butter. That one really fucking hurts. That I can't eat those anymore on set. But we're gonna make it work. I do want to give you. I feel like you deserve to know the ending we have planned. So the mystery ending we had planned is that the group, now minus Josie, of course, rip to her, would go to the abandoned Planters headquarters to discover the man behind the whole thing, or should I say, Nut? That's right, Mr. Peanut, voiced by David Tennant, because we recorded him saying the lines without his knowledge, is revealed to be actually Antonio Gentile, the boy who in 1913 was credited with drawing the original Mr. Peanut design. In this world, we decided, what if something fucked up happened? And actually, he was exposed to an experimental nut that the inventor, founder of peanuts, founder of Planters Peanuts, Amadeo Obici, turned him into a half man, half nut abomination. He was locked down in the bowels of the headquarters this entire time and forgotten when they left in 1961. He finally escaped his confines and set about his revenge in turning the entire town that abandoned him into even more terrible nut abominations. Now, I did want to bring up that maybe, if the money is right, we could bring him back. But Matt Damon was originally shooting to make a cameo appearance as Amadeo Obici. However, when we lost the sponsorship deal with Nutter Butters, he was fervently irate and stormed off the set. Lawyers got involved. He demanded to be cut. We did agree to talk to him and cut it down. We just put one of those TikTok filters that makes you look like a different face over his face during the scenes. So he's very unrecognizable. You'd be like, was that Matt Damon? And I mean, as Matt Damon. But so thank you to TikTok for that one. The plan is that the big ending would be that they have to steal a part of Mr. Peanut to make a super EpiPen of sorts, hence the name EpiPandemic, that will reverse the transformation to any of the surviving nutters out about. And Jeff, now sans his wife Josie, would make the ultimate sacrifice and kill himself and Mr. Peanut in an explosion he triggers with a C4-filled nutcracker. So obviously we are shooting to release this in October, so we have another couple weeks. If you can get it out right now, we do have enough time to do it. But with the nutcracker ending, it could be a Christmas special. Just up to you guys. Now we're still fighting with the Historical Society of Wilkesboro, Pennsylvania. Those darn historical keepers really don't want us to destroy the old Planters Peanuts headquarters. So they are a little hesitant to us shooting there, but we do plan, in case they say no, for an accidental detonation to happen while the cameras are rolling. So really, it's going to happen either way, so you don't have to worry about that. Now we are looking for someone somewhere in the $500 million range to finish this project, make sure it's all good, and really need work on those CGI peanuts. You don't want to see what we got going on. It's more like the picture art, you'd put in like a PowerPoint presentation in middle school. That's what we got for the peanuts right now. And boy, we don't want that to be the end goal here. So we could really use that money for the CGI and to pay the actors. We haven't paid them yet. But we do have an offer from so why we set it at $500 million is that we do have an offer from the Daily Wire for about $450 million. The only catch is that we do have to have underlying tones that this is something to do with the gay agenda if we go with them. So not really what we're looking to go for, but we will take the money. So I'm hoping to hear from you guys soon. Okay.
All right, that was great, man. I just have two questions. One, how'd you get in my office, and why are you holding a gun to my secretary's head?
Well, I don't want to have to say these things, but we're gonna need that money now. Okay.
All right, Zach. So I realized about a quarter of the way through this that you were just building a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yep.
And as soon as I realized that, I'm like, were you just hungry?
No.
For the record, this is important. I want to really applaud the rabbit holes you have to go down to find the shit for these stories. Because you did this last year, too.
Yes, I did.
And then I'm pretty sure the year before that. So at this point, you've just gone down so many rabbit holes that I think you've just got a rabbit tunnel system.
Yeah. So basically what happens is I find a fact that I find interesting usually, and I build an entire story around that stupid fact. Last year was that they built a mini Great Wall of China in China, Texas.
I want you to know You'll Never Have a Friend Like Me you saying that pops in my head. Not the song. Not the song. Not Will Smith saying it. I've listened to that song since. It is just you going, oh yeah? Oh, is that guy your friend? Well, you never had a friend like me. And then it cracks me the fuck up because I'll just be like walking at work and it'll just come into my head and I'll be like, fuck! He did it. He lasted.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just that talented here. But so this was inspired.
Shit.
I don't know if you remember this, but when we were over at that group's house, the friend group's house, watching Hereditary, we made a joke about all the peanut stuff, and I looked at you as like, I just found my idea for the stream video.
Oh my god, you're right.
And so I
had forgotten that because, no offense, it wasn't exactly high on my like memory moments.
That's why I was like, he won't remember this. Yes, idiots. Yes, very much idiots. So it was inspired by that. I was like, something got to be peanuts. And I was like, what if it's like, because I've done slasher and like mystery demon. I was like, what if it's like a apocalypse kind of thing? And I was like, what's stupid? An apocalypse in a small town.
What's dumber? Timothy Chalamet for the girls and gays.
Yeah.
That was probably my absolute favorite line from that whole fucking thing.
I was like, how do I get this Hey Dudes joke in there?
Oh my fucking god. I also, at some point we're gonna get sued for slander because of these fucking stories.
I just pitched them an amazing idea.
Also, if this happens now, we have to sue.
Yeah. If I see this on what fucking channel makes Sharknado? That fucking channel.
Sci-fi, I think.
If I see a nut-based apocalypse,
we're suing immediately. And we are going to make so much money off that lawsuit that we will make our own nut-based apocalypse movie. Oh, my fucking god.
Yeah, so it was all based on that, and I was like, I've been like bullshitting it back and forth for the last couple of days of work because I literally had nothing to do, and was like figuring out what the idea was and like Googling stupid shit. And yeah, when I found out the Planters was in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, I was like, that seems like a stupid enough town for this.
As soon as you're like, it's in Pennsylvania, it's near Scranton, I'm like, god fucking damn it.
Well, the Wikipedia literally says Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, part of the township with Scranton. I was like, what?
I also love the idea of The Office, but now it's a zombie apocalypse.
and then I found out the whole thing about the peanut guy, like the design. I was like, there it is.
Yeah, no, that's exactly where I was like, god damn, he fell down such a rabbit hole. He's got the fucking original founder of Planters, the kid that designed Mr. Peanut. Like, no one fucking knows who that kid is.
Nobody knows. No one would, like, why would anybody know
if you were born after, like, 1917, you don't know that child's name.
Oh, my God. And then I've been watching a lot of podcasts where they've been doing, like, characters, like doing this, where they, like, pitch something.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
it's funny. I did see one of these before.
Yeah.
And it was pitching like why theme parks, or not why theme parks, why amusement parks are better than theme parks.
I haven't seen that.
They were specifically going over like Cedar Point versus like Disneyland.
Well,
because they're like, you go to Disneyland, you're going to have a good time, but it's all going to be shoehorned into one thing. You go to Cedar Point, it's anything. Also, it's in Ohio, and that's like way more accessible for 90% of the country.
Yeah, well, it's accessible until you drive on the roads.
Yeah, it's accessible until you hit Toledo. And then everything's a nightmare.
Until you hit that first pothole, and you're like, oh god.
All right, that was really good. I am excited. I think I'm legit gonna put all of these, because I have all of them saved still. I never delete any footage because I just have a massive hard drive. So, like, I'm gonna probably just put all this shit up unedited, and I'm just gonna go through every single one that we have and just throw them onto the YouTube channel.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because, like, we don't lose anything from doing it unedited.
No. Like, the only thing I would say is we do, like, comps of each of our specific stories.
I actually don't think it would be a bad idea to just cut it into the stories.
Yeah. Because like, yours would be the best piece together, because it all works together. Yeah, and I'm
the best
mine
writer.
would just be like every well, yours is like the most usually well written, most focused. Mine is like every 5 seconds a gut punch of what's happening.
Keys is usually the first year is Keys going, all right, so I had an idea, but I didn't write it.
Oh, Keys. That one we felt so bad for. But it did spawn the bit of like, here you go, Keys.
You go first. That's the
first.
That's the tradition. I don't know why we do this to you every time, but we do.
God.
Oh, yeah. Fucking A. All right, I'm gonna pour myself another drink real quick, and then I'm gonna
give myself a drink.
Started.
I'm gonna turn off my lights and be ready. Give me a second.
Started here. Let's get started.
Give me a second. I'm turning off the lights and taking a piss.
What? I'm pouring myself whiskey. I'm not making a fancy drink. I don't, but I'm not going to take the time to make the fancy drink. No. Take it yourself. Use the jigger. You'll be fine. Literally just put a 2-ounce jigger of tequila in it and throw some... Okay, fine. Fuck you. Good luck. Alright. She sells seashells by the seashore. Rubber baby buggy bumpers. Okay. Good, I'm good enough. That's good enough. That's all the warm-up I need. That's right. I'm a fucking vocal master. Anyways, I'm going to drink this whiskey that'll probably make me less coherent. Alright. Zach, I want you to know. That absolutely looked like you just grabbed a bag of cat food and just brought it to sit down and eat it.
What?
So that looked like you grabbed a bag of cat food and brought it to sit down and eat it. Because it's just...
it's a bag of chocolate.
No, I get that, but it's the color of Friskies.
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready?
I am ready. I will shut up.
All right. My turn. The day was warm, the seagulls cawing, and 200 miles off the coast of Guam at Challenger's Deep, the research vessel RV Luminous was on fire and sinking. It had been sent here on a mission of exploration and to gather data on strange seismic readings from the Mariana Trench. And now, 6 months later, Dr. Charles DeMoe was watching in shock from the submersible he and engineer Darius Irving had managed to get into the water as the ship slowly sank to the deepest part of Earth's ocean, with God only knew how many hands left aboard. When the email had come through that the RV Luminous was set for launch... hang on. I got this ambient music way too high. I gotta turn that down. Okay. That's better. When the email had come through that the RV Luminous was set for launch, Dr. DeMoe had been beside himself with joy. He had grown up along the coast of Washington and had always wanted to set to sea on a grand adventure. Sure, seismology wasn't exactly buccaneering with flintlocks and lit fuses in your beard, but it's still taken to places he'd never thought he'd end up. And, as it turns out, one of those places was the middle of the ocean watching his ship sink. Darius, a dark-skinned man from Louisiana, was with one of the most brilliantly mechanical minds DeMoe had ever seen, fired off a flare from the cockpit of the sub. Gonna be a while before anyone finds us. I'll fire off another flare come nightfall. Don't want to waste them in the daylight. Then why fire off that one? Protocol. That'll let any survivors know that there are more. We should start to see other flares go up here shortly. Time passed. The Luminous sank fully beneath the waves as the last of its burning mass was extinguished by salt water, and no flares rose into the sky. Neither Demoe nor Irving said a word as they both sat in the sub watching the sky until Demoe looked forward and saw that the water line had gone from the bottom of the submersible's forward glass to about a quarter of the way up. Irving, are we sinking? Fuck! Irving crawled out of the top hatch onto the sub and slid down one of the sides to the starboard yellow ballast tank and then shimmied around the sub's back half and its thin maintenance rail to the port side ballast. He then climbed back inside and started looking through the emergency repair kit kept on board the two-man sub. We must take a shrapnel to the port ballast during the explosion. There's a dime-sized hole in it. We won't sink fast, but we will sink, and sideways at that. Meaning we'll have to release air from the ballast on the starboard side to stay level. So, what, we'll just go under the waves and run out of air? Demoe started hyperventilating. Oh god, I don't want to die in this sub! Engineer Irving smacked the doctor with maybe a touch more force than was necessary, and Demoe stopped hyperventilating to adjust his glasses. I won't have you wasting all our goddamn oxygen when we start to sink with panic. I'm scared too, but the leak is slow. Good chance that someone will be out before dawn, and I'd estimate that we won't sink fast enough to go fully under until a little after sunrise tomorrow. Irving slammed the metal lid on the repair kit. Fucking kit's supposed to have a ballast patch in it for this exact scenario. Goddamn maintenance department must not have put it back after its last PM. He then checked the emergency scuba tanks as well as the cabin air tank charges. Good news. All tanks are full. At least I did that, right? He then plopped down into the driver's seat. After a moment of silence, Demoe turned to him and asked, "Where were you when it happened?" "Port side deck. I was on a smoke break. Then the whole damn ship shook and rocketed through my last pack into the fucking water. What about you?" "I was in the lab getting seismic readings. We gotten a few more odd ones. Got a much larger reading right when the explosion happened." "Think it's related?" "No idea." "What were we checking with those readings anyways?" Demoe thought for a moment and said, "I mean, it could be a number of things. Could be some sort of localized microquakes. Could be that that a tectonic plate is shifting. Hell, it could be that the trench is partially collapsing due to tectonic activity." Though the dive team reported very little in the way of collapses along the walls of the trench. Irving grunted, and they both fell silent, with Irving occasionally letting out minuscule amounts of air from the intact ballast to level the sub. Both men napping in shifts in preparation for an after-dark rescue. When dark came, the pair would fire off a flare every 3 hours. By 5 a.m., they'd run out of their supply as the sun had started cresting the horizon line. By this point, the water had all but reached the top hatch of the sub, and with no flares present, they had to shut it to prevent the waves from rolling into the sub. "We're going to die here, aren't we, Darius?" "Well, I won't tell you it looks good, Doc, but I have a really stupid idea if you're in for an attempt." "Lay it on me." "Okay, so we don't have a patch kit here, but I know for a fact that maintenance had loads of them in their emergency kit supplies on Illuminus. We are in a sub. It is designed to go all the way down to the bottom if it has to, and it's got robot arms for manipulating samples. We could dive down to the wreckage of the Luminous and see if we can find supplies. If it's not too deep, then we can go out in scuba gear, fix it, and resurface. If it's at the bottom, we'll have to ride back up sideways, but we can still probably make it to safe pressure levels again to patch and purge the ballast. It's the only plan I got." "Well, it's better than waiting to die of oxygen deprivation in a floating coffin. I'm in. Wait, won't the ballast tank that's compromised just crush at those pressures? There's a honeycomb pattern of steel in there. That tank could probably go down to the Earth's core and not crush." With the matter closed, Irving kicked on the sub's drive modules and took off towards the wreck of the RV Luminous. They traveled down and down, further into the dark split in the earth that was the Mariana Trench, all while Irving remained amiable but focused, while Dr. Demoe tried to remain calm and quiet. Eventually, Irving asked something, and Demoe realized he hadn't been paying attention. I'm sorry, say that again, I zoned out." "I said my mom isn't going to be happy that her baby boy went down this far into the ocean, even if I make it back. She never learned to swim, didn't trust the water. You got any family?" "A cat. But that's about it these days. My parents passed a few years ago in a car wreck, and my last relationship was in..." Well, it was a depressingly long time ago. My mom would have been elated I was down here. She grew up on pirate adventure stories and some old seafaring tales from the port town she grew up in on the west coast. Can't remember the name of it. Anyway, she told me them all when I was little. Oh, my dad had some of those. His uncle was a Navy man during World War II and learned all kinds of stuff from the people he met along the way. Ever hear the one about the magical wish-granting fish that lives at the bottom of the sea? No, please enlighten me. Story goes that a fisherman, this is from Japan I think, was out on rough seas one day and a storm sunk his boat. He tried to hang on to some of the wreckage until he could reach shore, but ended up losing strength and falling into the water. Down into the dark he sank until he hit the sea bottom. Before he could drown, a bright glowing light lit up his vision and he was suddenly in a dry space breathing air. Outside of the bubble he was in swam a massive fish, and it spoke to him saying, "I don't give any visitors. Tell me why you're here." The man explained what had happened to him, and the fish said, "These seas are my domain. It would not do to treat an innocent man so unkind. I will repay your suffering with a gift. A single wish of anything you like." Obviously, the man wished to go home. Giant Fish agreed, then grabbed him in his mouth and swam back to whatever island in Japan he was from and spit him onto the shore. The man didn't fish again, but would occasionally put gifts in the water to make their way to the giant fish as thanks for his hospitality. Moral is to always repay your debts or something. Dad told it better. DeMo nodded and Irving went on. Matter of fact, a lot of cultures in this area of the world have that story. Magic fish or Leviathan on the bottom of the sea that grants wishes. Some of them he's kind, others he demands sacrifices, etc., etc. Always made me wonder as a kid if... Oh shit, wait, I see the ship. The bow's sticking up from the ridge over there. Irving brought the sub in closer and started going through the wreckage. DeMo noticed a great deal of the crew's corpses and tatters of skin and limbs floating around the broken ship. Noticed the massive hole in her hull that sank her. Alright, the maintenance room should be around here. I see wrenches and shit scattered through the hole. It's too far down to scuba out, though. So keep your eyes peeled for a red metal box about the size of a lunchbox. DeMo was scanning the wreckage and shouted, "There! Just inside the hole by the engine!" Irving brought the ship in and used the robot arms to attach to grab the box. "We may still have a shot at this yet, Doc." The box secured in the claw of the sub, they began to back out of the wreck and into open water to ascend. Without warning, another earthquake took hold and knocked the Luminous free of its wedge in the trench. The sub was grabbed halfway out of the hull and pulled with the wreckage further and further down. Irving tried furiously to get unstuck and free himself from the plummeting debris that used to be a top-of-the-line research vessel, while DeMo screamed. In the end, they both smacked their heads on impact with the sea floor and were knocked unconscious. Time passed, and DeMo slapped Irving to wake him up. When Irving opened his eyes, he went to say something caustic to DeMo, but before he could, he registered terror on the doctor's face. "What is it?" "What?" DeMo shoved his hand over Irving's mouth and put a finger over his lips. Irving could hear metal creaking and the sounds of scavenging. Something was tearing through the Luminous. He and DeMo watched through the front-facing glass as the deck of the Luminous they were trapped under was ripped and rended apart in front of them before being casually tossed off into the distance. And before them stood the creature that did it. A man. A 40-foot tall, if he was an inch, man, with skin the exact color of sand, stood before them, holding parts of the Luminous. He had red irises, black sclera, was bald, was built squat and wide like a tank, even going by his immense height, and he was smiling. He let out a booming, deep-throated laugh and bellowed, "Well, I'll be damned! I haven't had any visitors in a whale's age!" He then tossed the parts of the Luminous he held and casually picked up the sub like a baseball. "And by the stars, 2 of them at that! Imagine my luck!" Both DeMo and Irving gritted their teeth. The man wasn't speaking out loud. His booming voice was echoing inside their minds. "Oh, pardon me, I shouldn't be rude. Mr. Irving and Dr. DeMo, would you care to join me in my humble abode for a spell? Doesn't seem like you have much else going on." DeMo, teeth clamped together, said, "That would be lovely, Mr. My name is..." Here DeMo and Irving got a flash of flesh being ripped apart, slowly. Muscle and bone alike, tearing like latex rips apart when it's on skin, and both men found they couldn't let out screams they desperately wanted to set free. but I've been told by at least one other of your kind that it wears on the psyche. My family calls me Baugi, so that'll work. Come in, this water is just all types of dreadful in the vision. He proceeded to carry them into a cave alongside one of the walls of the Mariana Trench. The sub was dropped onto the sand inside of the cave, and water around them began to drain out of it. Before long, Irving opened the hatch on the sub. Both he and DeMo climbed slowly out of the submarine and stared up at their host, who had sat down on the massive throne made entirely of enormous bones. The whole cave was lit by the sickly green light of some kind of bioluminescent algae, and their host had set down a table with a bunch of raw fish on it that was man-sized, not far from his throne. Please, sit, eat, you look starved. DeMo spoke first. Thank you, but I have to ask, where did you... Shipwrecks, obviously. Though there are less here than there once were, I still maintain a good quantity of items from them over the years. As I said, I don't get many visitors, but Baugi the Destroyer is by no means a bad host. It was then that Irving spoke. Baugi the Destroyer? Why, yes! When I first came here, I was looking for a fight. You see, many of the siblings I have are often too weak or too clever to actually fight me. So I was told of a planet full of massive creatures that I could contend with to my heart's content. I came here when the whole planet was still water and fought the creatures in it. I got a touch carried away, I suppose, because by the time I was done, there were new land masses and I'd killed off most of the giant creatures I could fight. So I went on the land for a while and fought these big bird lizard things. But when dear Kitra, the wretch, crashed here, a large chunk of her ship broke off and blew up half the damn planet. So they all died too. After that, I got depressed and returned to the sea. I was sad for a long time until I started collecting boats. Would you like to see them? DeMo and Irving looked at each other and then back at their host and nodded. He led them to a hall off the main cavern room, and in it were hundreds of old ships that had been sunk and lost in the Pacific. Some were ancient Japanese and Chinese fishing vessels, and some were massive warships lost during World War II in Vietnam. My pride and joys! What do you say? You came from the world these were made in. Would you say this is a good collection of them? Yes. I can say with 100% certainty, there isn't another collection quite like it. Baugi clapped his hands and DeMo could feel blood run out of one of his ears. Splendid! Shouted Baugi in their minds. Now tell me, little men, why are you down here? From what I've tested with your kind, you do not survive the deep water well. We were researching strange seismic activity. What's that? Like, earth movements and vibrations. Oh, carry on. And something went horribly wrong in the engine bay of our ship. It exploded and sank. You found us searching it to repair the vessel we had managed to get free before the ship sank. I see. So these earth vibrations, would they happen at random? No, they were always a bunch right together. Ah, well then I must apologize to you. My sister Alga came by not long ago to tell me Kitra is starting to thaw out of her icy prison. If she gets out, she'll kill every last one of you unless someone stops her. Which presents me with two problems. First, that if there are no people, then there are no boats to collect. Second, if she gets out, I'll finally have another sparring partner. She wasn't ever very clever, but she was tremendously vicious. It'll be a lot of fun for me. But because she's going to be out soon, I've been training up the old muscles again, lifting those plates down here and beating the walls out to carve out more space for more boats and such like. You were lifting the plates? Well, of course! They're good fun. Would you like to try? No, thank you. So all of those readings were just me. Gotcha. Cool. Glad we figured that out. Darius, aren't you glad we figured that out? Elated. I'm glad I could help. I do have a question for you, though. How are you planning on getting back to the surface? We were planning on fixing the ballast on the side with that box in the claw of our sub and waiting for rescue. Well, how's about I offer you a ride? If I get you back to the surface and onto land unharmed, you let me take your weird little underwater boat for my collection. Can you get us there unharmed? Of course! You just get in the little boat and I can carry you to land. Shouldn't take long, I swim quite fast. Sure. That'll work. After dinner, then. And so Charles Demeaux and Darius Irving sat down to dinner with Baugi the Destroyer, who regaled them with tales of his time on prehistoric Earth and its oceans, and what it was like coming from deep space where he and his siblings were born. He told them about his brother on the moon, his sister in the stars, his other brother in the forest, and his sister Kitra, and what would likely happen if she ever got free from the ice. Then Demeaux and Irving thanked him for a lovely evening and climbed into the seats of their sub. Demeaux asked, "Won't we just explode with the pressure change?" Irving answered, "Cabin's pressurized. Assuming he doesn't kill us, we should be fine." Within 3 hours, they were standing on a beach in Guam, staring out as their host carried off their submarine back to the depths. It was 4 a.m. "What the fuck just happened?" Irving asked, looking sidelong at Demeaux. I don't know. You know what I do know, though? What's that?" "I'm staying out of the fucking ocean." Both men started chuckling, which turned into uproarious, mad laughter, until they both made their way off the beach and into the by then rising sun. The end.
Sorry, I was typing my joke out.
Oh.
So that was awesome.
I'm glad you liked it. I was very proud of this one.
Your most like lighthearted, fun one, I feel like, in terms of like crazy shit didn't just happen.
Yeah. No, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to really build tension and then just completely deplete it. But like still make you realize this thing could rip you to shreds for no reason and on accident.
Just the big Sandman.
Big underwater himbo.
Yeah, the coolest dude. I just assume he's the fish guy from Zelda, but sand.
Oh my god, yes.
If he smiles, his fucking teeth glint.
Yes, that's exactly right. Oh my god.
I love there's just so much fun imagery there. All the the guy in complete sand is so cool. That's like your designs for your characters are awesome. At some point, we got to have artwork done of these guys.
I mean, I basically made a costume out of the first one.
That's true. That's true. But I artwork needs to be done. Sorry if I'm giving you work, Jenna. But it was really cool. The boats. That's such a cool aspect of just like the history of boats is just in this guy's living room, basically.
Okay, so the original plan I was going to do was Darius was going to tell him the story about the fish at the bottom of the sea that grants wishes.
Uh-huh.
And initially Darius was supposed to be basically a treasure hunter. And so he was supposed to stab Demeaux and offer him up as a sacrifice, only for Baugi to be like, "Yeah, no, I don't want that. I'll take your cool little boat, though." Yeah. But you both have that, so, like, you each get a wish. And, that was the original plan. The explosion on the ship was supposed to be Darius planted a bomb after getting to the area he wanted to. But as I wrote it, I'm like, I like Darius. I don't really want to make him the villain anymore. I'm like, I kind of feel like I can do this without going to that point.
Props to you for realizing that. You're like, this could go a different way and still have the same
it gets the same outcome, and it's more fun. Like, it's not depressing.
I like the foreshadowing with the story. That's really cool.
I've been doing that since the second one.
Yeah.
Because that's the last one. Kitra is the final story, which is next year.
I'm excited for Kitra.
Because I might do one after that. I might do one where it's just Kitra and then one where everyone stops Kitra.
An Avengers Kitra.
Kinda, yeah. But like I years ago read the story about like Cthulhu being trapped under the like ocean. And he was only trapped there because it was cold, and so he was unable to like break free. But as the ocean warmed, he broke out.
Yeah, global warming is a motherfucker.
Yeah, and so I was like, you know what? I really like that idea because I feel like not enough people talk about that. Like, yeah, no, we're melting the ice caps, and all the things that are underneath them are just slowly coming out. And like, a lot of Eldritch horror took place
Yeah.
under the fucking ice caps.
Right. Now they're just like, oh, fucking Daddy Cthulhu, fuck me with your tentacles. It's like, come on!
Yeah,
This is about the world.
this is about the safety of the world, not your horny ass.
Damn it.
But yeah, I'm very proud of this one specifically because like most of the time I have fun with them. I liked the first one a lot. I need to rework it because it's still in the format we initially pitched for this, which was like plot of a horror movie.
Yeah, which I've stuck with.
Yeah, you did. I realized I'm like after the first one, I'm like that was not a horror movie plot. That was just I just wrote a story. And then by the second one, I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. I like the first one. I like the second one. Last year's I didn't like so much. It's a lot shorter. It's a lot less. Like there's just generally less.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like this one a lot. So I want to rework story 1 into just a regular story, which is already 90% of the way there. I basically just have to rework the beginning where I've got things like we fade in on. We don't need to fade in on anything. It's fine.
What interested you to like write about this one? Like, were you just interested in the Mariana Trench or something?
Okay, so I actually semi-planned most of these after I decided I was going to make it a series.
Okay.
So I came up with I wanted Baugi to basically be I wanted him to almost look like King Neptune from SpongeBob, but like actually badass and not a faker.
He talks like him though.
Yeah. And like I was like, I want that. I want Big Mermaid Man that fought like megalodons for fun.
Yeah.
And when I started going through it, I'm like, I don't really want him to be a mermaid though. That's kind of dull. I'm like,
yeah.
But I do like the idea of him just being like really happy to see people because he doesn't see them very often anymore. And he's just
more
like
fantastical the way you put him.
I also like the idea that he's just like, well, I can't let the people die. If there's no people, I don't get to collect things.
Right.
And that's fucking not gonna happen today.
Yeah, that's fun. He's just like he doesn't have it out for the human race. He's just like, I like things and I want boats. Give me boats.
I love you too, bye. Yeah, no, I love the idea of just an entity that's like, no, I'm not saving you because I like you. I'm saving you because you make things I like. Keep making things I like.
Yeah, this is cool. Humans do cool things, and I like them.
I also like the idea of just somebody owning like a ship in a bottle, but it's actually like a World War II destroyer.
Dude, that's what I did say. Please tell me they're in giant glass bottles.
No, but I should put that in there.
That would have been like 2 on the nose.
Probably.
He would only do that if he knew that was part of like the culture. And I don't.
Yeah.
He definitely feels like he's not part of the culture. He just likes the boats.
Yeah, they're neat. Also, I really liked you were lifting the plates. Well, of course, they're good fun. You want to try? No, thank you. So those readings were just me. Cool. Glad we figured that out. Darius, are you glad we figured that out? Elated. That is, I think, my favorite line in this entire thing.
Yeah, I like the setup, the introduction to them, and that was fun. Of just like, you introduce the area, you set up the whole thing to kind of like be like, where the fuck are we going with this? And I was like, something's gonna attack him, and then it turned out to be this big, beautiful man.
Yeah. No, that's why I was like, I'm gonna do a real hard bait and switch, where you're like, obviously something's gonna murder them in the ocean.
Right.
And in reality, it's just the world's biggest himbo being so happy.
He's like, you brought me a tiny cool boat to my collection.
I haven't seen one of these before. And just smashing it into another submarine.
That's cool as shit.
I love the idea of just going bang, 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 bang with 2 fucking crashed ships.
Now, what are these for? Oh, these ones go under the water. Now, that's cool.
See, now this one's my favorite, because if you push right here and it just fires like a 40mm shell out into the water, he's like, it really shoots. It's like a little kid stoked to be here.
It's like a joke of like, you probably shouldn't have the Nazi one on display as much. That was not as liked by our people.
Please put that away. That's also one of the reasons I put him in the Pacific, because then he didn't have Nazi boats. He had Imperial Japanese boats. It's like, See, that's better.
That is
That's
better.
much better. Thank you.
Yeah, that's cool. I like it. I'm excited for Kitra and the inevitable fight now, Kith, with the submarines.
No kids.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I
cool.
mentioned her with Alga first, where it's like, you guys must really want her to get out the way you're burning your ice caps.
Man, you know what I do want now for this guy is for him to find like one of our like military grade like naval ships
Like an
that are just
aircraft
built,
carrier.
just yeah, an aircraft carrier that's built to fuck things up like crazy. Because I want to see that. Sounds like a fun like fight of him like realizing, oh, this one puts up a fight.
You know, I could probably work that into the one with where he stops Kitra, is where she's getting out, and they're like, "Oh fuck, that thing's getting out of the water! What the fuck is that? Shoot it!" And he just gets hit. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't know I was gonna have fun."
Yeah, that's
Just-
he's got like a little bit of like space blood. He's like, okay.
Just picks it up at the end and just like sets it on land. Like, I'll come back for you later.
I will remember you.
I'll be right back, baby. Don't you go nowhere.
Where the heart of the ocean is a ring. Oh, dude, yes. I need to know what his thoughts are on the Titanic.
Well, he's not in the Atlantic, so
Yeah.
he doesn't know it existed.
Man, yeah. Oh my God, that's something. I almost want him to like talk to those guys again, and they'd be like, "You guys, you don't even know what's going on the other side. Have you heard of the Titanic? It's a great movie.
I actually love the
That would be
idea
his
that
top movie probably.
that he like gets out to fight his sister and then realizes there's more than one ocean.
Yeah,
And he's like, "Fucking what?
you,
You could have been going these places?"
you mean there's different boats
Just
and
he
different
just, like,
fish?
just raids the Smithsonian. He's like, "What do you mean there's sky boats now? Didn't have that when the lizards were here."
Yeah, he sees like a plane for the first time, and he's like, "Skyboat!" Ah! He just,
He just
plucks
grabs
it,
it,
like
like-
stops its movement immediately.
Hit stop now.
Whoa! Oh,
Yeah.
what if I press this and a guy just flies out?
I did think
action!
I did think it was fun to make Kitra destroy the dinosaurs, because I'm like, well, I can't have him hunt all the dinosaurs to death. There was, for sure, an asteroid that hit the Earth.
Yeah.
I'm like, as fun as that would be, like, that's probably not great. So I was like, yeah, I'll just make part of her ship fuck up, and that's why she crashed into the ice and got stuck
I
there.
need you to either like re-up some of the stories and repost them, or like post them all the stories you've done on YouTube, because I need a refresher on all these boys.
Yeah, I'll do it. Hell, I'll do it right now.
But yeah, this is
Still,
this is always my favorite stream of the year.
I was gonna say, this is still, I think, my favorite stream we do. We don't do it super often, which I think is good, because I think if we did it super often, we get burnt out on it.
Like this, and then I liked when I want us to try to do a year in review again. That one was always fun.
That one was fun. The only reason it's hard is because, like, we're all hungover or tired or whatever.
Yeah.
So, like, usually by the time we get to New Year's Day, we're like, fuck, do I have to stream?
Right. Oh, fuck. All right. What's happened this year?
Nothing good.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Spooky Boys for the win.